Hello and welcome to another video. This is a DJI video, but it's not a DJI Neo video. It's a lot different this time because today I'm going to be testing out two different drones. Now the first one you're going to see in a moment is the DJI Mini 4 Pro. And why am I trying two different drones out? Well, the reason is every time I've done one of my Neo videos, at the end I've always asked if people can tell me what is the best drone to upgrade to, and I've had a few people say the DJI Mini 4K, the DJI Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3S. There's been a couple of other ones that I've mentioned, but the majority of people are saying the Mini 4 Pro is definitely something to upgrade from the Neo. Now, Stephen contacted me. He's another YouTuber, and I'll put his details on screen and in the description so you can go and check his stuff out. He asked me if I wanted to come and try a couple of drones out. So I took his offer up, went over to Six Fields, which is basically where I fly my drones. And we met up and I got a chance to do that. So as you can see here, this is the DJI Mini 4 Pro drone. And this is where we're getting to launch it. I was expecting Stephen to actually launch it and fly it around a little bit just to see how it handles and just to sort of get an idea of sort of how it moves around, and yeah, just so that I could have a little go afterwards. But he handed me the actual controller and said, right, okay, you can launch it. So as you can see here, I'm launching the DJI Mini 4 Pro. As soon as you get to launch the actual drone itself, it's completely different to the Neo. The sound of it, the feel of it, for me, it was just crazy to fly something like a bit more expensive than the Neo and have a little go on that. So yeah, so I end up getting up so far, and I try and bring the actual drone in front of the camera. Now the Mini 4 Pro does have obstacle avoidance, so if there's anything within a couple of meters of it, there's a little alarm that goes off, so you might be able to hear that on the actual video, but it's because of the GoPro is in front of it, so it's kind of bleeping because of that. And it was about a meter, 1.2 meters off the ground itself, so it was bleeping because of that, because it needs to be sort of up. You can feel that there's an obstacle around it. But yeah, so I basically had to fly around 6 fields using the Mini 4 Pro. Now, when I got it off the ground and I started flying around, compared to the Neo, I don't know if it was because of the controller, the one that has the screen on it that you'll see in a moment. As I was flying it around, it just seemed to fly a lot smoother. Obviously, the noise of the actual drone was more of a sort of an airy sort of sound rather than a whiny Neo sort of sound. So just the experience of it just felt a lot better. But just having the controller, it just felt a lot lighter because it didn't have a mobile phone connected to it. It felt easier to control with the sticks. And I was just flying it slowly at first, just to get into grips with his configuration, going up and down, sort of left and right, and the yaw and all that jazz. So yeah, so I was just flying it around slowly, figuring all that out. And then obviously I could fly it faster. I think it was in normal mode, so obviously it wasn't going too fast. But I was just flying it around, as you can probably see on the screen, just flying around the field in 6 fields, and it just felt a lot better to fly than the Neo. I felt a lot more confident flying it. I'm not too sure if it's because it was someone else's drone rather than my own, and I was kind of going panicking about that, I don't know. But it just felt a lot easier just to fly it around, and it just felt more enjoyable. But yeah, so then obviously I hand the controller over to Stephen, and Stephen sort of tells me about the features that are on there, which is similar to the Neo. The point of interest, so obviously you can see here, this is Stephen doing the point of interest shot. Now obviously it's very much similar to the Neo. You sort of select the subject and then you let it do its thing, and it starts panning around, which you'll see now. So he sort of gets that into operation. It starts flying around, and obviously then you see the drone going around. And then thanks to Stephen for the drone footages. All the drone footage are down to Stephen. He sent me those, but all the GoPro footage is myself. But yeah, you get to see sort of me filming it, and then you get to see the drone going around as well. And it's smoother. It's a lot quieter than the actual Neo itself. But then, yeah, he sort of goes through all of the little settings. A lot of it is very similar to the Neo, but the actual drone itself seems to operate a lot smoother. I think it's down to the wind resistance. You could see the drone moving a lot in the air, but when it was moving on the screen, you could see it was just a still still thing, whereas the Neo, if it moves slightly, you can see a little bit of movement. But with the Mini 4 Pro, it just seemed to go around. It was moving around, but it just seemed to continue at the same speed. It just worked a lot better. It was very impressive. It was effortless. And I just really enjoyed watching it sort of maneuver around us. Obviously, we're walking around the field and it was following us everywhere we were going. Obviously, you can see that now on the actual footage itself. And then when it comes to actually sort of landing the drone, with the Neo, obviously it's all GPS, so it figures out whereabouts it is on the actual, in the field. But Stephen had the little heliport pad thing that he's got. And as you can see on the screen now, it actually sort of came down, obviously from the sky, as you would expect a drone to be. But yeah, it just came down and it more or less flew and landed on the actual pad itself, which you'll see now. So that was the Mini 4 Pro drone, and it was an absolute dream to fly. It was a lot better than the Neo. It just seemed to handle itself a lot better. It was a lot quieter, and as soon as you get up to sort of maybe 15 meters into the sky, it sort of blends in with the wind noise. Now the next drone you're going to see is the DJI Air 3S. Now this one, Stephen gave me the privilege of sort of taking it off, flying it around the field at the start, and that's what you're going to see now. So as you can see here, Stephen gave me the privilege of flying the drone up, so I took it off and flew it around 6 fields. The actual Air 3S is a lot louder than the Mini 4 Pro, but obviously it's a bigger drone. The propellers are a lot bigger, so obviously you're going to get a lot more noise, but it's not as noisy or annoying as the Neo. So as you can see here, this is me taking it off, and I got the ability to fly it around 6 fields. And again, like the previous one, I just took it off slowly, figured out the configuration of the sticks, and then it gave me the opportunity just to sort of slowly start taking it around, just to figure out how to bank it round and up and down and all that sort of jazz, because his configuration is slightly different to mine. Once I kind of got to grips with that again, I was managed to sort of fly it all around the field, and again it just felt a lot better to fly the drone than the Neo. And again, I don't know whether it's the controller, I don't know if it's because the drone itself is heavier, so it seems to sort of handle itself a lot better in the sort of wind and sort of flying around, which I'm guessing it does. But yeah, I was just flying it all around the field and I was just enjoying it. It just felt a lot better. And yeah, so then after I did that, Stephen then took over so I could do a little bit of filming of the drone going around with the GoPro, and he could fly it around and show sort of the other aspects of it. So now what you can see here, this is Stephen doing a point of interest shot, and we were just basically just doing a similar thing where it just sort of circles and banks around us. And like in the previous one, just to compare the two drones from that. Now, once Stephen had done all of that and just flown it around and showed me how that handles doing the point of interest shot, the next thing was just to get a better understanding of the controller with the screen. Now, the controller I've got is just a basic, I think it's the RC3 controller. There's no screen on it. You have to put your mobile phone into it, whereas this has got the screen. But the beauty of the one with the screen is you can take screenshots. So if you want to like emphasize a certain thing on the screen, like the settings or the icons, you can take a one-off screenshot. You can also film the screen itself. So if you can film from the drone, but you can also film from the screen. So if you want to kind of talk about, oh, well, I'm going to do this shot over here, but you need to make sure your settings are X, Y, and Z, you can then do a screen, like a film your screen to emphasize that. So you can say, click on this, and that brings up this, this, and this, and it just helps talk about those aspects of the settings. So it was great to see that feature, and that kind of won it for me, that particular controller. I'd really want to get that, just so I've got that ability to film rather than having to do like recording like a video capture on my phone, which does it at 1080p, whereas I think on that probably does it a lot better quality. Anyway, so he showed me that aspect of it, and then he took it up further and flew it off over near the motorway area so we could see all of that. And it was just great to see how effortless it was just to fly over. And at this sort of point, Stephen was telling me that we'd flown it around quite a bit, and he still had about 63% on the actual battery itself as he was flying it over towards the motorway. Now, as you can see on the screen now, this is sort of just a shot that he was taking of the actual motorway. Obviously, he was nowhere near the motorway, but he just sort of hovered over it, and he started bringing the actual camera back, the drone back, so you could sort of see all of the sort of the landscape and the sort of motorway and the cars going by and all of that jazz. But yeah, it was just good to see that, and obviously we could see the sort of line of sight. We could see the drone. It was small, but because of the Air 3S, it's like a darker grey, not like the other, like the Mini 4 Pro or the Neo. They're kind of a lighter grey. They're kind of blending with the clouds. With the Air 3S, it was like a dark grey, so then you could see it wherever it was, and even though it was quite a distance away from us, you could still see it in the sky very easily. But while we were over there, Steam says, I'll show you another feature, and this is called a hyperlapse, which sadly the Neo doesn't have. You can do it, but it's a massive workaround. It takes a lot of time and it's not overly amazing. Whereas the I think with the Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3S, you can do this effortlessly using the controller. Now all this is Stephen just flew it over and he just held it at a specific point, and then what he does, he does the actual hyperlapse, and it takes about 120 pictures over 2 seconds, 5 seconds or 10 seconds, I believe. And yeah, it just snaps every 2 seconds, for example. And then once it's done the 120, it basically converts that into a video, and you can basically see cars flying really fast, and it just looks amazing, especially at night. We can see the sort of the headlights, or the sort of the brake lights or the back red lights of the cars flying around. It's great. So you'll see a 4-second clip of that now, and I'll tell you why it was only 4 seconds in a minute. So yeah, so as you can see here, this is just 4 seconds of footage of a hyperlapse. Now, the reason why it was only 4 seconds, it takes around about 9-10 minutes to do the hyperlapse. Just obviously got 120 pictures, and if you're doing 2 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever of each picture, obviously these things take time. And he only had about 10 minutes or so of actually battery life, so he couldn't do the whole 120 pictures. He could only do about 90, I believe. But even though he stopped it, it didn't sort of erase that. It made a video of the 90 pictures, which is the 4-second clip you've seen. But yeah, I thought it was amazing that he could sort of hover. There was a bit of a wind, but obviously that didn't bother it. You could see in the footage, you could see on when it was in the sky, when it was below, it was moving, but there was no movement on the screen itself. So it was fantastic, to be honest. So that was that. So obviously then we sort of landed that, brought it down, and that was testing those two drones. Now, what I'll tell you now is just the specs of both of them, and then after that, I'll tell you exactly which one I'm going to go for. So yeah, we'll see you in a minute when I've done that. Before I actually tell you which one I've actually picked, what I'll do is I'll go through the specs of both drones and kind of show you exactly what both of them cover. Now, I'm going to go start with the Mini 4 Pro. Now, the Mini 4 Pro is 249 grams, which is obviously the ideal weight. You don't need any sort of particular license or anything for that. The batteries on them though last for 34 minutes, but obviously that's a windless environment. Obviously if it's windy, then it might be more like 28 or so. You can get batteries plus, and they last 45 minutes, so you might get maybe 38 minutes or so of battery life if it is windy from there. With the Mini 4 Pro, it does have a wind resistance of 10.7 meters per second, which is not bad when the Neo only has a level 4, which is 8 meters per second. The Mini 4 Pro does have 2 gigabytes of storage on the actual drone, I believe, but you can insert an SD card and increase that to maybe sort of 512 gig. With the resolution of the actual drone itself, it only goes to 4K, but it does have the frame rates of 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, 60 and 100 frames per second. If you put it at Ultra HD, which is basically 1080p, that does go up to 200 frames per second. And obviously the Mini 4 Pro does have excellent obstacle avoidance. Now the next one I'm going to talk about now is the Air 3S, which you can see the little picture there. Now the Air 3S is a heavier drone at 724 grams. The battery life is 45 minutes, and the wind speed, or basically the wind resistance on the Air 3S is 12 meters per second, so it's a lot more than the Neo at 8. The onboard storage for this particular drone is shown up at 42 gig, which is ideal if you just want to take it out. But I believe there is a SD card area where you can put an SD card in and expand that maybe up to 512 gig. With the actual Air 3S, that is 4K as well, and that goes up to 120 frames per second. But if you do put it into Ultra HD or 1080p, that goes up to 240 frames per second. With the Air 3S though, it does have a resolution of 2.7K, and that goes up to 60 frames per second. And obviously that has obstacle avoidance as well. And there is a sensor in the front of the actual gimbal camera itself that's obviously sort of an obstacle avoidance thing as well. So yeah, so as I said at the start of this video, I wanted to see exactly the difference between the Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3S, because that's what people are saying. You can sort of upgrade to either of those. Now, after flying both of those, the honest truth of it is I would love to have both of them. They both handle great. Obviously the wind resistance on the Air 3S is a lot better, and that would be perfect for taking around, but obviously it's a lot heavier than the Mini 4 Pro. So the final verdict, which one will I upgrade to? And the answer is, drum roll, is the Mini 4 Pro. And the reason why it is the Mini 4 Pro, it is all just down to price really. The Mini 4 Pro is around about £600, whereas the actual Air 3S at the moment is well over, I think it's about 1100, so obviously it's nearly twice as much as the Mini 4 Pro. But for me as a beginner, I think I just benefit for the Mini 4 Pro. I think it's a great little drone. It's under that 250 grams. It's got decent wind resistance, decent stabilization. It handles itself well in the wind. The camera quality is excellent. And the gimbal is not like the Neo, where the gimbal only moves up and down. Obviously the gimbal on the Mini 4 Pro can sort of move sideways, so when it is trying to focus on anything and the wind's blasting it all over, it does have that sort of that movement, whereas the Neo's kind of up and down, so it doesn't do it as well. So you get rid of all of that pixelation and distortion that you do get in the Neo. So yeah, so thanks to Stephen for letting me try both of those out, and I'd love to have the Air 3S. It would be a fantastic drone, but obviously price wise I can't really afford that. The other one, the Mini 4 Pro, is a lot more affordable, so I think I'm going to go with that one. So thanks to Stephen for letting me do that. Thanks Stephen for sending me the drone footage as well. So obviously I'll put his URL in the description so you can go and check his channel out. And yeah, you never know, I'm going to be testing some other drones out soon. So don't forget to hit that like button, comment and let us know if you've got either of those drones and how you are finding them. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next drone video. So take care of yourself and bye-bye.